Welcome to Turn Positivity into Possibility, where today we're going to talk about thinking in years, planning in months, and living in days. Episode 269. Hey, if you're joining me live in the Age with Awesomeness community, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit hashtag live, hit hashtag replay. In the description, you'll see that in order for me to see who you are, when you comment, when you hit hearts and likes, you need to give StreamYard permission. That's where I'm recording on today. I've got my iPad. See if I can turn down the sound. Maybe. I don't know what the little buttons are, but let's see what happens here. Let's just look. There we go. So I'm going to turn the volume down so I don't have reverb, right? But hashtag live, hit hashtag replay. As each week I want to come and I want to record the podcast live. So you get on the spot coaching, you get on the spot response, right? It's kind of like if you listen to the podcast, if you listen to episode 268, which is about creating a one-word vision, which I'm going to talk about before we even go into episode 269, which is thinking years, planning in months, and living in days. But on Spotify, you can actually leave comments that I can read, that other listeners can see and read, and there can be interactive. So, I'm just sitting in my office. It's just me. It's just my corgi Luna sitting or laying beside me, which is what she does. She knows when I go into the office and she's going to just chill out, right? But there's no real interaction unless you hit a heart, a like, leave a comment. So for me, relationships are the key to everything we do. To build relationships a foot wide and a mile deep. I would rather have fewer relationships but deeper, meaningful relationships. And I still believe through the power of the web that we can build deep, meaningful relationships. So if you can hang around today, if you can comment, if you can hit some hearts, if you can hit some likes, if you can leave a comment, I'd really appreciate it. If something resonates with you, absolutely. I will try to incorporate that into the podcast, into the live recording. So I've got my water. If I was a betting man, I'd probably be here about 20 to 30 minutes today. If you're catching the podcast, actually on Apple or Spotify or Anchor or any of the multitude of podcast platforms. You'll also hear the Gen X Badass Spotlight of the Week. I'm super excited to bring this week's Gen X Badass Spotlight of the Week. You'll also hear a weekly Danish. So for those that don't know, but if you'd like, I'm going to tell you how to receive this. Monday through Friday, I am blessed to send out a text message called Daily Danish. Daily Danish, right? So we get to get inspired every day. I can really tell when I send out those Daily Danish which ones hit the heart, hit the mind, hit the soul, exit responses, and understand I write them, I create them, and I respond to them. I don't farm that out. I am building a team, a social media expert, a virtual assistant expert, a content writer. So we've got Israel, we've got Kayla, we've got Tina. In order to make 2024 the most epic year to serve at a level like never before. That's what's important to me. Now, I say me, but understand this is never, ever, 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 and never will be about me. It's about helping you think in years, plan in months, and live in days. To remember to never waste a heartbeat, to remember today is your tomorrow. I had a very dear friend whose mother-in-law passed away unexpectedly, and it just reminds you that you and I are never guaranteed a tomorrow. But we can have better todays and better tomorrows by improving our mindset, by improving our health, by improving our connections. So in the 4F philosophy that I'm blessed to teach and coach, we start with faith first. Pastor John will tell you that the alarm clock will tell you when to get out of bed. It will not tell you why. That is the very first thing we dig into. Why do you get out of bed? What is your purpose? And I had a conversation with a future trailblazer this morning who's officially retired, moved to Portugal, and is just trying to find her purpose. Everybody that I'm blessed to work with, coach in our community, is in transition. Because if you're Gen X, right, you're 45 plus. Your kids are practically grown or almost grown. You're an empty nester. Maybe you're a grandparent, and you probably followed what we are taught as middle class Americans to go to school, fall in, or get a job, fall in love, buy a house, have kids, get married, raise the kids. And I've been blessed to do that. I hope you have too, or you're in the process of doing that. But what's next? That's what we do right here. We redefine our purpose. Each one of us has less days ahead of us, I guarantee that, than we had behind us. But we can make them the best days of our lives. And that's why every week I want to come to you and help you dream big, dream often, and dream out loud. Remind you that today is your tomorrow. What does that mean? That means to take action today. Don't wait. Don't wait, because you're not guaranteed tomorrow. All right, I'm going to grab a quick drink. If you're joining me live, hit hashtag live. If you're joining me later, hit hashtag replay. If you're catching the podcast, do me a favor and leave a comment. What did you enjoy? What would you like to see? What motivated you? What fired you up? What inspired you? What inspired you? I want to go back to episode 268. If you didn't catch it, I'd be honored if you'd click and go back and listen to episode 268. One word vision. The main concept there was, is there one word that you can choose that will propel you into having the best year of your life? As I record this, it's December 2023. I'm talking about 2024, but ultimately it's evergreen. It doesn't matter when you do this. The best day to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best day is today. So if you hear this any other time, stop, think, ponder. One word vision. Several people in the Trailblazer community are those that receive that daily Danish. By the way, I didn't say, but whether you're listening to the podcast or catching me live, the way to get that daily Danish in your inbox is just go to Facebook, DM me, Dane Boyle, with your phone number, put hashtag Danish, and I'd be more than happy at no cost to hopefully inspire you to create the life you love, but never forget to live the life you have. And constantly reminding you to tell those you love them, and never assume they know. All right, back to the one word vision. I'll share mine if you don't know it. It's kind of funny. Yesterday, I got together with a Trailblazer Randy. He's like, man, I was talking to one of my employees, and I'm blessed to coach his team. Maybe my one word vision was over the top, but I'm going to explain why. Why? So let me just tell you, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, not including mine, one word visions that people have shared. And then I just received a text right before I went on air that basically says, okay, so I've been tossing around a few words around for my one word vision in 2024. Let me know what you think. And we're going to talk about that live on air. So breakthrough. I want to read. I'm going to open up my pictures because the Trailblazer that I'm talking about, she made a meme, and it was based on episode 268. Word of the year, one word vision, mantra, all of those things she said. Breakthrough. Creating my best life, thinking in years, planning in months. It's funny because that's exactly what we're leading to today in episode 269. Living in days. Thinking years, planning in months, living in days. And I'm going to give some tips and hints about that. Dreaming big, dreaming often, dreaming out loud, because I'll tell you every single day, remind you every single day that dreams do not have an expiration date. When I filed for my LLC about 10 years ago, I never once looked at my chronological age. It was just something I was called to do. Remember, Colonel Sanders started Kentucky Fried Chicken with Social Security checks. So dreams don't have an expiration date. She says, stay consistent even when you fail. And the number one rule, when you decide to join and when you decide to step out into your light, into your brave, those are all things that my good friend Light Beamer April talks about. And I agree 100%. Step into your light, step into your brave. Don't be a douchebag. That is the number one rule of the Trailblazer Nation, of the Travelblazer Nation. I don't really know where that came from, but it was probably something that I said in one of our Monday Motivation live calls. Good morning, Bob. I look forward to talking more today. I appreciate you being here today. So breakthrough. Trailblazer Randy said growth. He's an entrepreneur, he's a business owner, and he wants to grow not only in his business, but his physicality, his mental strength. He wants to put it all together, growth. Bob wants to drive into being the best human being, the best Gen X badass he can be in everything that he does, and challenge himself to dig a little bit deeper and drive. Bob this year just randomly connected with people in his community, and they did a 77-mile ruck with very little thought because he wants to dive into it because he's got the drive. Good morning, Rebecca, which is pretty amazing because as trailblazers, we are going to challenge the norm. When you hit a certain age, the media is going to tell you basically to sit in your rocker with the clicker, just bitch about the kids today and the status of the world, and we're not going to do it. Trailblazers storm. They run into the storm head first and attack the storm because they're going to blaze a trail that's never been there before and invite others to join them. They're also going to blaze into that storm. They're going to run into it like that bison because the pain and suffering won't last forever. They'll diminish it, unlike the cow that runs away from the storm. I'm going to tell you, this might be the most interesting one-word vision that I have seen and been blessed to be shared with. So the text was, I'm not really sure. I haven't come up with a word, but she saw a picture of a shirt and it said 12 months, 365 new chances. Now that, my friends, is thinking in years and planning or living in days. I'm going to say it again. And I'm going to tell you what she decided that her one-word vision is. 12 months, 365 new chances. So I said, so if I ask you what your one-word vision is, she said it's 1, 2, 3, 6, 5. Think about that. When she sees that number, that random group of 5 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, it's 12 months. That's planning in months. 3, 6, 5, that's living in the days. Within the Trailblazer community, I've challenged every Trailblazer to see what progress we can track 52 times in the next year. So you've got to live in days to see your progress. So if you choose to identify yourself as a reader, I'm going to share that one of my goals in thinking years is to read 12 books in 2024. So I can look, did I read 10 pages every day? Yes or no? You can quantify it. It's yes or no, and that's it. And then every week, did I read 70 pages? Check. Not so much check. But did I read 60? I think I got 90. I'm still doing pretty well, right? Think in years, plan in months, live in days. Track it. And that's so easy. And I'm blessed to, in our Trailblazer Saints, we have an electronic tracker that comes to an email. It doesn't get any easier. But if you are an old school planner, like you've got your written planner, and I know that Isabella and I know that Stacy have them, and Stacy specifically is to record her yays for the day, 365 yays for the day, which is attitude of gratitude. When you get your progress report, you get your daily habit tracker, it doesn't ask you if you read, it doesn't ask you if you did your movement, it doesn't ask you if you drank your water first, it asks you if you shared a yay for the day, if you live in gratitude, because to me that sets you up for success every single day. So I challenged every Trailblazer, and I challenge you to not only do that in our Facebook community, but keep a record, whether it's a digital record, handwritten record, whatever that is. And imagine the journal you'll have after 1 year. Think about that. Have you chosen a one-word vision? If you have, I'd love to hear it. If you're just jumping in, it's #live. If you're coming back, #replay. Bob, thank you so much for letting me know that you are there. So then I want to talk about this question. Okay, so I've been tossing around a few words for 2024. Let me know what you think. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 11 or 12 words. First of all, what I love is the intention. I love that this trailblazer is not taking this assignment lightly. One thing I dislike is wasted time. Wasted time. You will never get this moment back. So if you're choosing to join me live or listen to the podcast, thank you, because you're choosing to give your time right here, and you will never, ever, never, ever get it back. So I don't take that lightly, and I want to say thank you. So she says joy or joyful, simplicity, persistence, inspire, consistency, intentional, breathe, determination, calm, focus, strive. Every one of those words conjures up a powerful image. And Trailblazer Ginny did just like I do. I brainstorm, and then I kind of do it like bracket play in a tournament. I take two words, I kind of compete them against each other. I'm like, based on all 7 elements of health and wellness, which are E squared, IOP squared: emotional, environmental, intellectual, occupational, physical, social, and spiritual health. That's all encompassing of who we are and what we do. Which of these 2 words embodies who I am today, thinking in days, who I want to be? Because even in my wedding vows that I wrote, I stood in front of our friends and family on the beach of Port Aransas, Texas, in our bare feet. And I told Tanya that I loved her for the woman she is today and the woman she'll be tomorrow, knowing that we're going to grow, that we're going to change, that we're going to improve. So if Ginny did it in order, I would challenge her to take joy or joyful and simplify and just really sit, contemplate, and nurture those 2 words and take one and eliminate it. Then perhaps go on to simplify and persistence and cross it out. Until now, you go from 12 words to 6 words, you go to 3 words, you only have 2 words left, and you choose a word or a number: 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 12 months, 365 chances. As the coach, as the leader, I cannot tell you what word is for you. Now, my job is use the Socratic method and ask you questions as to why you chose these words, why they're in the bigger picture. That's my job. Then my job is to tell you, damn, I think that word suits you fine. One of the trailblazers said confidence. She wants to stand taller at work, at home, in life, and not allow self-limiting beliefs to hold her back to thinking big, or dreaming big, dreaming often, and dreaming out loud. So Ginny, number 1, I want to thank you for your confidence in me and allowing me to nurture with you what your one-word vision is. I hope that you will share your one-word vision, so on the next episode, we can come back and say, remember in episode 269, thinking in years, planning in months, living in days? Remember that? Remember when I talked about Trailblazer Ginny and we talked about her potential? This is what she settled on, and perhaps I'll be blessed to say why she chose those words. All right, so my goal was to get all of that done in about 20 minutes. We're about 19 minutes in. Thank you for being here. I'm going to take about the next 20 minutes to go and start to think about thinking in years, planning in months, living in days. So thinking in years allows you a long-term vision to where you're going to be in the future, right? Thinking in the future. You must go so far out into the future that you begin to see it. You begin to live it today. You begin to manifest. It doesn't magically fall out of the sky. But what happens is you begin to make decisions based on where you want to be. Thinking in years. Thinking in years. So consider where you want to be, right? Where do you want to be? How are you how are you going to get there? What actions can you take? What actions can you take each and every day? What actions 12 times a year collectively can you take? So consider your overreaching long-term goal, whether it's health, whether it's wealth, whether it's mindset, whether it's career, whether it's any of those 7 elements I spoke about earlier, E squared, IOP squared, emotional, environmental, intellectual, occupational, physical, social, and spiritual health. Envision where you want to be at the end of the year. We're only talking 1 year out here, which, as most of us sitting here in December 2023 thinking, oh my gosh, the year is almost over. That's right. Because time will pass and you can do nothing about it. It's what you do with the time that's important. Let's talk about planning in months. What are major milestones, the big rocks, right? The thinking in years is a big boulder in the river, right? That you stand up and you put your arms up in the air like, hell yeah, I freaking crushed it. But what are the little stepping stones that allowed you to get there? What are the milestones 12 times in the year that you can check off and go, yes, yes, yes. Now, with that, nothing has to be perfect. It will not be linear. I guarantee you it will not look the way you thought it would look. Because life is going to throw you a curveball and you're probably going to swing and miss a few times. That's okay. I mean, hell, if you hit 333 in a career in baseball, you are definitely in the Hall of Fame. Now, what are the little bitty pebbles? What are the pebbles that you must collect and stack up to get the boulders, to get the bigger boulders to step on the giant rock? Those are your daily tasks. What must you do every single day? Again, if you want to be a reader, to go back to what I mentioned earlier, and you choose to read 12 books a year, which is one of my goals, I'm going to share mine to hopefully inspire you to come back and share yours with me, to join the Trailblazer Nation, to jump on the 4-week Age with Awesomeness journey just to jumpstart the year, to make improvements in your life, to catapult you to those years, to then join us, right? So that we can hold you accountable, so you can hold yourself accountable. So it starts with just a 4-week challenge to understand why you're doing what you're doing, to begin to understand why you're thinking in years, planning in months, and living in days. What are those little bitty pebbles? So go back to the reading. I challenge every trailblazer to read 10 pages a day. For some, that might not seem like a lot. For some, that might seem like a monumental task. 10 pages a day in 1 year is 3,650 pages. And it's actually 10 more pages because 2024 is a leap year. That's about 2,200 page books. So maybe I need to challenge myself more and say I want to read 20 books in 2024 rather than 12. I just picked one a month. Okay. So what would I need to do? What would I need to do? So let's talk about, actually, let me take a drink. Let's pause. If you need to hit pause, go get some water or go get some paper or come back or make a note or leave a message on Spotify, go ahead and do that. So for me, I know and I'm blessed that currently the only medication I take on a daily basis is for asthma because I suck at breathing. But that doesn't have anything directly to do with my physical size. My blood pressure's good. Like I said, I don't take any medication. I'm on no lifestyle medication. I move my body every day. And since April, I've been rucking, carrying anywhere from 20 to 40 pounds pretty much daily. But I know that if I reduce my body fat and I lose weight, which is completely unnatural, and we'll talk about that in a future episode, then my blood pressure will be better. My heart rate will come down. And potentially I can live a better quality of life. It's that simple. So my goal is to drop 26 pounds. And you're like, oh, that's it? That's half a pound a week. It's nothing drastic. And Trailblazer Jessica's, how are you going to do that? Well, my pebbles are to drink my water every day. My pebbles are to make sure I get 7+ hours of sleep every day. My pebbles are to make sure I eat at least 3 to 5 servings of fruit and vegetables every day. My pebbles are to ensure that I get appropriate protein in my diet every single day, which is about half my body weight in grams every day. My pebbles are to ensure that I live in a state of gratitude and share my yay for the day. Those are my pebbles that I get to track every day to get on the bigger rock, to get on the giant rock, the boulder. I don't know how I actually said that earlier, but those are my pebbles. I've thought about it. Have you thought about it? So I'm going to prioritize also my mental health. I wake up approximately 60 minutes before I'm blessed to help others. So I sit in silence every day. Some will call it meditation, some will call it prayer, whatever works for you. Anywhere from 1 to 10 minutes, just depending on how my day is starting out. And even on this podcast, I look like I feel like I'm tired. My allergies are kicking my ass today, but you know what? I still did it. I still sat by my Christmas tree, which is up 24/7, 365. I lost my dad about a decade ago. I talk to my dad every day. I tell him I'm going to try to make him proud every day. I tell him I'm going to try to serve first. Then I make deep connections. And I'm going to help people think in years, plan in months, and live in days. So those are just a few things for me. But what about you? Have you thought about it? Have you thought about your physical development, your personal development? What does that look like? What is your big overreaching goal? And then what, from your boulder to your rocks to your pebbles, what does that look like? So again, personal development, I want to read 12 books. That's 10 pages a day. I'm going to either use my Kindle or use a real book. I do both. I also listen to audiobooks. By the way, if you didn't know and you have a subscription to Spotify, you now get 15 hours of Audible included. So I highly, highly encourage you to do that. So let's talk about personal development. What does that look like? Personal growth. I already said personal development. I want to attend one industry-related conference, whether it's physical fitness, whether it's personal development, whether it's life coaching, something, whether it's travel, because we're creating the Travel Blazer experience. And in January of 2024, we're going to Mexico City. In February of 2024, we're going to Boise, Idaho, and I'm blessed to co-lead an event called Idaho Chill Adventure Retreat with my good friend and inspirator, Erin Shirey. I'm super excited about doing that and creating a shared experience with her community and our community. Right? In April, we're going to Italy. We're going to Ireland. In July, we're going to Park City, Utah. And then we're going back to the beaches of Mexico in September. And who knows what else we're going to create. So I could actually attend a travel event to learn how to do it even better. Because I believe when you discover the world, you discover yourself. I want to save 20% of my gross income next year to eventually invest in something, and I have not defined what that's going to look like. I talked about travel. I want to plan and embark on things to expand the Travel Blazer experience. By the way, if that excites you, DM me or comment below Travel Blazer. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about Idaho, about Park City, Utah, about Mexico, and things in between. I want to strengthen my relationships. Earlier on, I want to challenge you to do the same. We are mammals and we are meant to connect. We are meant to have relationships. We are meant to have friends. And that's the fellowship in the 4F philosophy, which is faith, it's fitness, it's fellowship, and now it's ultimately fun. Make life fun. Don't make it a burden. So I want to have regular calls or coffee meetups or maybe even virtual happy hours. I haven't defined all of them. I've got a little bit of time, but pay attention. Stay tuned for just events for us to talk, to laugh, to share, to dream. I've been a hit or miss journal writer for years. And on my notes on my right, it says practice regular journaling or reflection for at least 15 minutes a day. Writers write, and I do want to publish my book this year with a working title. I don't know if this will really be the title, but it's Raised Catholic by a Jewish Mother, How to Overcome Guilt. Oy vey. It's kind of funny, kind of silly, but even if it's not the title, it will be a verse. If it's not a title, it will be a chapter. Tanya and I in the Trailblazer community have made a commitment to give back. So a couple things we did this year is we donated to a local charity called Whiskeys and Warriors, and it was a local charity. And one of the things we've decided over the years is to contribute to local charities, because our neighbors are the ones that are going to be the benefactors of those charities. Nothing wrong with the big global charities, but we've decided to try to help. God forbid somebody in your house gets cancer or falls on really, really hard times. We want our neighbors to be able to get the help. We donated to a book signing with friends of ours, multiple friends of ours, and a conglomeration wrote a book, and they had a wine tasting and a book signing, and we wanted to give back to our local friends to allow them to shine their light and step into their brave. Thank you for allowing me to do that, Evelina and April. So all this to say today, if you haven't listened to the One Word Vision episode 268 of Turn Positivity into Possibility, I highly recommend you do it. Because when you make that one word your screensaver, the note on your door, the note on your above your toilet, on your dashboard, written in pen like a kid in school on your hand, you begin to plant the seed to be that. You must think it. You must identify as the word. To be a writer, you must identify yourself as a writer. To be a healthy person, you must identify yourself as a healthy person. To be a wealthy person, you must identify yourself as a healthy person. Identity-based habits. Identify yourself as what you want to achieve. Now, my one-word vision is enthusiasm. And I get teased a little bit about that because I am a high energy guy. I understand I really do have to work my way up into it in the morning after I let the dogs out and have my coffee, and I sit in prayer with my dad every day. I was, and so maybe this is ultimately who I am, voted the most spirited in my senior class, not the most likely to succeed, but the most spirited. So energy has always been my game. But yesterday, when Randy said, man, I'm not sure you need more enthusiasm, because I say that with the most and utmost love, not to put you down or anything like that. I want to ensure that if I sit with you at coffee, if I sit with you in conversation, if we go on a hike, if we get on a call, I can say, man, that was the best, most badass call, coffee, conversation, cocktail ever. Because it's subjective and it's what I want. When we wake up on Christmas morning, we're saying, this is the best Christmas morning ever, best New Year's event ever, best travel blazer event for 2024 to start the year in Mexico City. Or eating street tacos and talking and laughing and listening to the mariachis. That's the best event at that time. Because I'm blessed and you're blessed to do some pretty amazing things that we don't appreciate at the level I believe we should. That's just me. It doesn't have to be you. But I want to show up on a call. I want to show up on the podcast. I want to show up live with the utmost enthusiasm and energy. And if you don't have that fire, take mine. I've got a lot to spare. Take mine. I've got a lot to spare. You want to join the Trailblazer community and see what it's all about? Because positivity, it's all shrouded in positivity. The world's going to kick you. It's going to knock you down. It's a mean and dark place. That's what Rocky told us, right? But we're going to shine our flashlight. If we're going through hell, we're going to keep going because there's light no matter how dim the light is. We're going to discover what brings you joy. We're going to discover your values. We're going to discover what your non-negotiables are in life. And you're going to create a vivid vision for your life. And then we're going to collect the pebbles, right? Get the rocks to stand on the boulder with the big guns to say, I effing did it. I effing did it. There's always work to do. Always trust the process. Know that small, slow increments are better. There's no barbecue joint out there that says, come on, eat the best microwave barbecue in the world. It's like, come on, get our slow smoked, mesquite smoked, pecan smoked, 14-hour brisket. And then it's got that little pink smoke ring. You're like, oh my gosh, this is pure heaven. Because it took time. It took intention. It took watching it to make sure it was done right. Think in years, plan in months, live in days. Pebbles, rocks to boulders. That's all it is. We make it so much harder than it has to be. So, what is your one word vision? What do you want to achieve? What are we going to celebrate this time next year? Because you're standing on the boulder, because you collected the pebbles, you stepped on the rocks, and you did it. So I hope today that you feel this is time well spent. I hope that you'll continue to join us. And one of my thinking in years is 52 podcasts next year. They will be dropped on Monday mornings at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. If anything resonates, please comment. If anything you think will resonate with another fellow Gen X badass or somebody who aspires to be a Gen X badass, share the podcast. In order to ultimately ignite life and spark a healthy revolution, we need to do it together. No man or woman can stand alone. So be sure to shine your light into the world. Be sure to tell those you love them, and never assume they know. Remember that you are the navigator of your ship. So go be amazing. I'll see you next week. And thank you for allowing me to be part of your life. Go be amazing.